Every single person watching this right now, to some degree, think about it with your own life. You let other people control you to some degree. Maybe something doesn't turn out the way that you expected. Maybe you get some feedback or criticism from other people, or a variety of other things that you let other people determine how you feel about yourself. And you can really tell based on social media even, where especially younger people post something, they don't get the interactions, the likes, the comments, whatever else that they're seeking validation for to make them feel better about themselves. And the thing is, we all do it to some degree. Think about the feeling that you have. You want to express certain things, but you hold back a part of yourself because of what someone else may think about you or what they may say. Whether it be your family, your friends, your coworkers, whomever else it may possibly be. So it's interesting when you think about it, because how do you let no one have any control over you? Because this is something I've been thinking about for a while now, because I've been really analyze the reasons why I may do certain actions or I may do certain things, and it's like, okay, maybe it's based on other people. Maybe some of the positive things even, it doesn't have to be all negative, mind you. But maybe some of the negative things, or how I feel about myself, or how I feel certain emotions, or the way that I do, could be determined based on other people. If someone else says something, if someone else does something, if someone else doesn't do something, and I'm expecting them to do something, if I have an expected outcome or way that I think that they're going to handle a certain situation and they don't, then I may feel as though, I did something wrong, I feel bad or whatever. So it's just really interesting, because I've gotten to a point where it's like, I don't know, I just don't really care as much anymore, okay? It's like I'm not going to let someone else determine how I feel about myself. And that's easier said than done, because every single person here, every single one of you, including myself, you know what that's like. You know exactly what that's like to have other people. And it's especially prevalent when you're much younger. I think when you've learned a lot about things going on in the world, and you start to put your own confidence and happiness first when it comes to you being able to stand your ground as to what you believe in, then and only then is when you've really learned the skills necessary to not have other people influence you. So I'm just kind of thinking, it's like, okay, the people that have been in my life, the people who have done certain things, whether it be good or bad even, it doesn't really matter. It's like, how do I feel when it comes to my emotions afterwards? How do I change my thought patterns? How am I altering my behavior to not necessarily accommodate them, but based on whatever action that they have, how are they controlling me in ways that I may not be aware? And a lot of times that they actually are. Because it's like, we like to think that we have ultimate control over ourselves, and we don't. Other people control us. Hold on, let me rephrase that. We let other people control us more than we think that we do. So we may say, okay, friends and family, they have a small impact on my life, or maybe they have a pretty big impact on my life, depending on, how your dynamics are and whatever. But the truth is, it may actually make up 99.9% of the way that you feel about yourself, the way that you do your actions, certain actions that you have taken. Like, imagine if you keep getting coerced and pressured into going into a certain career path. It's like, all right, I'll do it. I'll do it. And that's really not what you want to do, but then you end up doing it. And it's because based on other people, you were manipulated and coerced into doing that. And that may be a positive thing if it turns out to be very good and you like it, but that wasn't your own true, genuine thoughts and ideas. It was someone else controlling you. So, in some positive situations that can be okay, but let's just think about some negative situations. So for me, I've had other people in my life, even just when you compare stuff to the past, people who have been in the past, people who have, been very abusive, neglectful even, I can let them control me, or I can just put them aside and say, you have no control over me anymore. Because a lot of people, this is how the mind works, you're going to keep going into these cycles again and again and again. And it's this cycle of abuse that you have endured abuse, you may abuse other people, or you may react in certain ways that you think other people are going to abuse you when they're not necessarily going to. And it's just this vicious cycle that happens again and again and again, and it's because you're letting other people from the past control you, even if you no longer live with them or are around them, have no contact with them, or even if they've been dead for a long time now, you still let them control you. You hear that inner voice of them criticizing you. You let them have control over you. You let them, like whenever you maybe put on clothing that you think looks good, maybe you have that thought in your mind, oh, I look fat. Oh, this doesn't look good. Or maybe you're working on a project and you hear, oh, you'll never amount to anything. This will always be a failure. You will never succeed. Right there, those thoughts and ideas, those are not your own thoughts. Those are someone else's thoughts that have been projected into you based on your past experiences that you are still holding on to and you're letting control you. When you really drill down deep of the mind and how it operates, you will find that almost all of our actions, the way that we feel about ourselves, is often always controlled by other people. How do you stop that? How do you stop that? Well, if you're watching this, if you're aware of these other people who are doing that to you, then you have to be able to put your foot down and say no to that, to not give into that, to allow yourself to actually feel what you genuinely feel about yourself. Do you really, have a lack of confidence based on how you genuinely feel, or is it a lack of confidence based on what someone else? I think the moment that you become aware that it's other people, then you can dismiss it a lot easier and not let them control you as much. So this is something that I have certainly dealt with over the years, and at this point it's like I can realize, like, okay, I have a certain thought right now. Is this my own thought? Or is this someone else's thought that's being projected into me based on past experiences that I have endured? Is someone saying something negative to me? Am I going to let that influence me because of the experiences that I have from the past? Or am I going to, if it is constructive criticism, just listen to it, maybe see what I can improve and whatever. Or if it's something that is truly, genuinely negative, am I going to just dismiss it and not let it impact me? You really have to think about the thoughts that go through your mind. A lot of times we get stuck on a thought and it just repeats again and again and again and again. That's where you practice mindfulness. Mindfulness to let go of those thoughts, because those thoughts are not important whatsoever. The moment you continue to latch onto those thoughts, you become angry, you become depressed, and they just keep going around in a circle, and then you actually feel what the thoughts are saying. Oh, you're ugly, you will never amount to anything, you won't be successful, you won't have any love in your life, blah, 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 blah. Constant negative thoughts that go through that you get angry about, you get upset about initially, and then you let them define you. You latch onto those and then they become you, almost as if it's like a parasite that is attached to you, telling you what to think, telling you how to feel. But they're not you. It's someone else telling you how you should be. And I want to say it's that you are allowing it. Many people may not necessarily like that idea that I'm not allowing this to happen, it's just happening. No, you are allowing it to happen because you are able to control your mind and control the thoughts that go through your mind and not let it impact you, but instead you're giving into it because you do not understand how to let it go, how to be mindful, how to let those thoughts that are just flowing through your head from other people, you let them define you. You latch onto them. You essentially invite them in. They're knocking on your door endlessly. And instead of ignoring them, you give in, you open up the door and you let them in, and then they control and destroy everything in your home because you have allowed them to do that. So that's just kind of random thought I had, to not let other people control you, to be mindful of the things that you are allowing other people to control you, because you'll be amazed just how many people may have control over your thoughts and actions. It could just be like one or two. Oftentimes it is your parents or bullies or people that have traumatized you to some degree, especially in the past. But it could be people online. If you need validation from social media and all that sort of stuff, it's just random people, random likes. Those people may not necessarily have a name or a face that you really care about. You just want the numbers. You don't have the numbers, so you're still letting other people, random strangers, control how you feel about yourself. So let that go. Have a great day.